Hey, all, cool. So we're back. Uh, I'm just gonna just jump straight into it. Um, yeah. So just to give you a bit of a recap, into what this stream is about, progress so far. Just for context, of course. I'm currently in the middle of a build, on Cursor, that I started about 8 weeks ago, and ended up hitting a bit of a roadblock just because of, again, context switching and other projects that I've got to work on. I've not actually managed to finish, or I hadn't managed to finish, the build. But there were a few architectural updates I actually want to make to this project, and I've started to just document this journey, in terms of what I'm doing with it, with AI, what I'm doing with some of my more agentic builds. Um, Following along, obviously, on my process, how I come to certain decisions, how I'm using and utilizing most of the AI tools that I've actually got in my stack. And then, yeah, just kind of just record, I just press record, go through it, and I'm just talking you through what I'm doing. I'm not really an AI influencer, not really got a massive following here on YouTube, but I am an IT ops manager, and I've been in the AI space for around 4 years now. Just in the background, I'm in most of the several school communities, going back several years. I was in quite a lot of the automation groups at the beginning, traffic and copy, some of Nick Sarav's groups, Jack Roberts, and a few others within the space. So yeah, stop really waffling. So I've got this application that I'm building, which is a prospector and outreach app for contacting UK based businesses. I'm pretty sure it can work anywhere, but because of how I've set it up and some of the connectors that I'm using, it is focused on UK based businesses and doing their outreach, um, contacting them, managing them for a CRM, enrolling them, and then doing various other bits and bobs. I hit a bit of a stumbling block on how the application was operating, because initially when I first set it up, I did an extensive amount of pre-engineering through directives, and things of that nature. The Once I put it into Cursor, the harness of choice, things started to go wrong, just because of just over eagerness and letting it do its own thing. So what ended up happening, is various Git branches started to disconnect. And then I was getting a lot of umbrella repos within the same directory. And then the whole project folder ended up getting messed up. I was called onto another project, so I didn't actually manage or get to finish it. So now I want to go back in, and clean all of that up and just go through the process with you. So far, where I'm at the moment is, I've set up a few best practices and a few bits and bobs, based on a directive that someone that I follow quite closely, and I respect quite a lot in terms of this AI engineering space, Matt Pocock, some of his philosophies. But again, I didn't want to just blindly put that into my project, and I advise obviously others not to do the same. When you inherit a skill from someone else, or an MD file from someone else, it will not just slide and fit into your own project. And I'll go through that now quickly. I'll just quickly open up Claude just to kind of show you where I've gotten to at the moment. So this is a couple of steps. So um let me move my OBS over. Just not got everything happening. Hopefully. Good. So essentially what was happening is I loaded in a few of his a few skills from his Git repository. And then this is what I ended up finding, that a lot of these repos had fallen off and become untracked because the structure wasn't quite right. Even though each of these were phased into several kind of build steps, and then handed off to Cursor. And I was running everything using, the highest models and the highest available context. I was even being quite strict or semi-strict with regards to the phasing, but that was still breaking because of the fact that the context window within a specific session was still getting quite clumbered up. And then because of, just kind of letting Cursor go crazy, a few of the times when I wasn't really being that careful, it ended up overriding some of the logic that I built in at the planning phase. So this is kind of what I've been working away at through the day, just to kind of unstick. So all of these repositories are now their own direct repos. And then to get around the context issue, I've ended up building a new skill, which now I go back to this. Sorry. Yeah, I'll go to the previous one and then back to this one. So what I've ended up doing is building a new skill that does the context switching automatically. So you can see here at the, hopefully you can see it bottom here. Yeah. So I've set a limit with regards to the token utilization. So if I go here within, so I'm just clicking the little icon at the bottom. Lord, let me. So you can see it here. So all I've done is just click the bit at the bottom. Yeah, so you can see my screen there. Just to see where the context window is at. So the physical, again, I'm not going to act like I'm the first to talk about this. So Matt, a few others, Nick, it's a known fact that the longer that you, or the bigger that your context window is, or the more you prompt within the same session or context window, the more kind of cloudiness and haziness that your LLM gets, or your agent gets, because of how much context that you're pumping into one place and how many things that it now it has to remember and try to decipher and stuff like that. And that's where you end up getting into these cycles where you're constantly having to spend more time correcting and refining your prompt, or getting really crazy and outlandish outputs where it's skipping, missing certain bits of context, or reading certain bits of context and kind of being trigger happy to build, and then you end up finding that it's done something wrong, or it's built a second navigation somewhere that you don't need it. And it's because of the fact that it's not spending, or it's not got enough kind of breathing space to look through and gather that context up and then do the compute to actually pump out your output. So I've set this as a hard limit of 160. I don't want to get above 160. So manually, if I catch it, cool, I will trigger the handoff tool, the handoff skill, which I've tweaked quite heavily. So that it's now behaving slightly differently, because again, the way that Matt had it didn't really align too well with how I had engineered this project to run, and the various slices and stuff like that. And I just wanted it to handle the session handoff slightly differently, as well as the flagging slightly differently. So once it's getting close to that 160k limit, what I've done is set a 140k threshold, and then created hooks so that it's constantly checking and calling back, getting an estimate based off of how many messages have been exchanged. It gets an estimate number of tokens that it would have utilized to kind of like figure things out in that thread. If that number, or that token estimation, which is fairly accurate, is anywhere near 140k, so give or take 5k, so between 135 and 145, it will start to warn me that you've reached the limit and it's approaching 160k, and it will calculate the token utilization at every prompt after that. So it's not doing an auto handover, but it's prompting me as to whether it wants me to compact everything, save it into the log, save it into a temporary memory, and then I can start a new session, and then just obviously trigger a continue prompt. So let me show you here now. So all I've done here, all I've done here is prompt continue, and you can see straight away it knows what to do, as in it's going to start by confirming the handoff state against the actual repo before doing anything. It confirms the state, match the handoff exactly to the last commit that was made, and then all session work is still untracked because I haven't committed anything back to Git. And then it looks for the handoff hooks within the Claude setting, so all the rules are there, and from there it then sets up a few various bits and bobs, follows a certain set amount of rules, and then it can pick up where I left off. And that 180 at the time, 180k context window is now 35, but I can pick up where I left off, and that all the rest of that log is somewhere in temporary memory. It's not going to congest. It's not going to congest the repo until I actually commit everything, and it's just a cleaner and tidier way of compacting things and keeping the context window as large as possible. I am on a Claude Max subscription, and I can utilize a million tokens if I want to, but I still want to just really remain diligent in keeping things extremely concise. As soon as it hits that context window, move on to the next one, and try and do things in a really minimal way, just to give my agents the best hope of kind of getting things right, and me getting to actually ship applications a lot faster doing it this way. So that's where we're at, and I'm just continuing through with this at the moment. That was just to give you a bit of context. Where I'm at now, yeah, so where I was now was just implementing a couple of files that I needed to. Where was I? Sorry. JSON. So extremely distracted at the moment. But I will get there. Right, so the handoff documents. Oh yeah, cool. So during that transition to the doing it this way, we set up that JSON setting folder, or the Claude settings JSON file. But while it was doing that, I wanted to make sure that there were no other helper files that weren't really best fit for that, or just trying to avoid any overlap. So what I've done is anything that's to do with Git and any functions like that, let's store them all in the same place so that it's only looking in one place for all of these other directives and rules. Again, just to clear and tidy up how this whole project and the agent comes to certain decisions and behaves. So it's just repeatable. Everything's in the same place. It's not looking all over the place and things aren't getting lost. So that's kind of like the primary objective here, is just to tidy up that logic, tidy up where files are getting referenced. And then from there, obviously I can now start cracking on with the rest of the things that I wanted to do. So that's done. Do I want it to commit the stage? Okay, cool. So yeah, commit them. And then let's start. Sorry. Skills from skill suite. So what I'm doing now is just prompting it to commit the work that we've done there, and then I want to start to go through the process better position with some of these skills. Okay, so that's done. Committing now. Firstly to see that. Cool. So while this is committing that, I'm actually going to open a new session. And I want to be able to do now menu to okay, cool. So these are a couple of skills that I was looking at earlier. I just wanted to just review, make sure that they were fit. Yeah, so that they were fit for the app that we're building. So I'm currently just going through the process of staging them, inspecting them before we can actually then stage them. And then from there, how they behave or how they, yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Very interesting. Couple of hours, but yeah, this work needs to be done. I need to tidy up this repository so that I can just quickly get back on track with this build. Yeah, so first let's just quickly go through what Claude is doing at the moment. So three skills on a fit table. So yeah, three of these skills are not where in you put it? Docs, Brussels freedom over it. Not in the handoffs. So guardrails won't. Guardrails work may have what did. Let me do the beep on 1 2 5 5 4 6. Hey. um actually replying. All right. So, cool. So, it's given me feedback on skills that I wanted to write, which is good. A couple of them it hadn't found, but it's managed to obviously find everything now. It's given me a review in terms of fitness test or the adaptation within my space. So diagnose, doctrine, and stack. Excellent. First review exam as well. But I've also obviously asked it to do to see if there's any gaps that we need to fill as well, just so that we can apply best practice according to my so how I best work. Right. So what's the next step? Commit. Yeah, I'm trying to hand off. Guardrail work. You first. And review. Adapt ones. Reviews enough. That's handoff. Okay, cool. Cool. So we're now just obviously committing that work to Git. So obviously that um we've got that checkpoint place. And from there I actually want to now give it back to the application because I want to do a full sweep and smoke test everything yet again, just so that we've got a fresh pair of eyes on it. See where we need to further kind of test and tear things down. And then from there, I can then start building out the next slices in terms of the work packages, and then continue through and iterate in this manner. I also actually wanted to implement, there was a testing practice that I wanted to implement because my stage gates are set up at the end based off of the work packages. I wanted to set up a new means of actually verifying the success rate of the stage gate or the qualifiers on the stage gate, because I think just a partial or full pass, partial or fail is too light. So I wanted to kind of again just ramp that up slightly, just so that the fails, oh sorry, the tests and the audit results are actually a bit more guided. I don't want it to just be like a pass because the feature works. I want to make sure that the actual thing is still aligned at the top level. I want to make sure that it's still on brand. I want to make sure that the build has followed all of the engineering rules and things like that. Just so again, I've got everything logged, because I built this. There was an application that I was working on earlier in the year, which is shipped now, which is obviously good. But when I was iterating that and going through the motions on that particular application, when it came to actually testing, I found that there were so many gaps in where there were repeat versions of similar functionality. So for example, you'd have a root set up within the application folder for a particular, like Python script that was being called. But then elsewhere, you'd have a similar connector that was being called, that was referencing a different component with some slight function or variable named slightly differently. So those are the kind of things and bugs that I want to test. So After this sweep in terms of the skills, I'm probably not going to take much because the grill I'm not going to need at the moment, but I am going to utilize that skill for a project that I want to start potentially tomorrow or the day after, depending on how much progress I make today. And I actually want to do that as a from start to finish. This is what a build looks like, because I want to build an app that just helps me control my build planning from an ADHD perspective. I've got obviously ADHD, and it's a bit of a struggle just keeping focused on one particular build at a time from start to finish. And I don't want to hop around as much. So I want to build an app that I've kind of ideated in my head. I want to peer review it and go through all of the motions that I usually go through when I'm planning all of this sort of thing, so that you can see what that looks like from a planning perspective. And then from there, we'll implement it, we'll roll it out, we'll build it together, and then, yeah, hopefully ship so that we can track live in the public, in the flesh, how long this process and what that process looks like end to end, using this methodology. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at what this is doing. So the target, blah blah blah, the PRD, blah blah blah. Target commit oriented. Here's where the build actually stands. Build actually stands from a PRD plus issue 1. The first vertical slice is a single company URL, structured, blah, 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 qualified, blah, blah, blah. One thing that I can confirm before we touch in code, the recent Git history doesn't obviously line up with issue 001. Here's the markup generation pipeline, phase C, audit mapping pipeline. The audit mapping and the markup generation don't read like steps towards the URL lead profile. So either the A to I phases are a different strand, and audit product running alongside issue 1, the earlier plumbing for the same size, and then they just diverge. I don't want to guess. Okay, yeah, that's good that that's caught that out, because I didn't want this whole issue, and this is something again, as you're seeing in real time, that's arrived from dropping a new philosophy, a new engineering style onto something that I'd already pre-built. So essentially what's happening here is this issue and PRD referencing in terms of like issue 001, and then these pipelines on clear objectives are very different from the packages that I had built before, where I'd essentially split the whole build into letters of the alphabet. So for example, so for work package A, the initial prompt for that work package was to create all of the directories, all of the files that were required. Create all of the directories, all of the files that were required from a core perspective. B was similar in terms of that was now just populating all of those files with the content to get set up. And then E was to set up all of the credentials and things like that to connect to the various points and systems all the way. And I don't think I started the actual front end build until G or E, somewhere there. And then it's obviously followed on from there. Just built all of the back end out first, then applied the front end to it. But obviously what this is saying, or what Claude has found, is switching this now means that it's not really aligning well with my original phases that I had built, because having this written PRD format in terms of like what these work packages are, issue 001 doesn't really relate to what A is, and this is the intersect that we're at the moment. So it's asking me which thread should they resume, and yeah, so I want to go down option 2, which is this. So I want to continue using the phase pipeline turn to the still we out skill to see where we are. Scheme of things. Okay. Cool. So then turn to letter H. Smoke from A to H. Okay, so what I'm gonna actually do now in real time, we're at fresh date. So that's fine. So this is currently at 74 tokens, 74k tokens, nowhere near the 140 threshold that I'd set. So I don't really want to reset that now. What I want to actually do is do that. Cool. So I don't want to refresh that. What I want to do is run and inspect. Yes, inspect the project directly. So what I'm going to do is verify the rule phrases. I think that I'm on stage H. We're going to then stage gate it, formalize the phases as the PRD. So be AI, blah, 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 not the issue 001. Then we're going to smoke test everything just to make sure that they all connect, they all work and do the function that they're supposed to before we continue iterating. And then that's when I'm going to apply the diagnose tool. And then from there, we can obviously then go into Cursor and start kind of having more of a look around rather than this whole housekeeping exercise that we're doing. But we're doing this housekeeping exercise because it's going to save us. It's going to save this project essentially. We need to do this housekeeping exercise because it's going to save the project. It's going to save the application. In the long run. So yeah, it's going to have to be done. And this is the beauty of knowing what you're building. Yes, I'm not in the middle of and kind of coding everything myself, but I understand exactly how I've layered this application thus far, exactly what each file is doing and what each not necessarily each line of code, but I've got a very good bearing in terms of what my application is doing. So makes it a heck of a lot easier when you get to directing the AI, kind of making sure that it's following your instruction. So yes, I was essentially right. So I was at H, and as you can see, the dashboard itself wasn't built, and this is how I did it. So phase B was all foundational, setting up all the executions, auditing the pipeline, then the mock-up generation pipeline. Again, just the bare bones, the bare minimum. And then all of that obviously came to follow. So what this is saying is, so the last successfully gated, as in past the actual gate, was G, which was a sending pipeline, which is true, because I did manage to get my Gmail set up and it was successfully sending emails, and that stage gate was passed. I then did the whole inbox monitoring because that's where we got stuck next, with regards to having access and looking at the mailbox that I'd set this up so that if someone does reply to that initial outreach, you can then track and do a follow up, and it's listening to see if there's a response. If there is no response, send a follow up, after X number of days. If there is a response, kill that communication, send them through a different path. So that's kind of where we'd gotten to, which is good that it's remembered that, because this is a very good position to be in, and this is what we're soon going to be back into the middle of code. So yeah, brilliant, 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 brilliant. So let me just get this. Cool. So how should I run HH smoke test? Okay, inspect and then run. So run all and then try. So read each gate script, run the safe ones, E to F. No, run every gate, D to H. E try run offline flag. No, we actually want to run it first. Smoke test first. Formalize the community. Should we formalize first, or should we? No, let's. Do I want to smoke test it first, or do I want to formalize it? I think I want to formalize the structure first. And so what am I saying? What I want to do, let me actually launch this up. When? Right, so that's not okay. So prospector. Cool. So I'm just waiting for that to launch, so then we can actually get a real view of where we were. And then I'll be able to pick back up and have a look at the various bits. Because as it's doing its smoke test, there's no reason why we shouldn't also be kind of go through this as well. And yeah, just basically just get interaction of human. Quickly go back into Claude Code and say that we should technically let's formalize the PRDs first, because I think the smoke test being what it is, it's going to have to test the code regardless, but getting the names right probably matters more. So I want to see how it derives to its decision. And again, the context windows are 82 82k at the moment, so it's not too adventurous for. So yeah, having a look anyway. Yeah, so it's looking at the previous validation, can nominate how it wants to. And then once it's named those, we can then pick up stuff in Cursor. Oh my gosh, and this thing is still launching. Oh, hey, gosh. Thank you. Thank you. We're trying, small, trying. But yeah, that's running in the background now. Let's give it back to this. So it's updating the to-do list. It's going through. So the plan is locked. We're doing the PRDs first. Cool, that's fine. And I want to just see if I can find check. See if I think I'm gonna struggle. Actually, I may struggle to find this. Let's see. Right. So um let's just keep that doing its thing. And in the context. uh, all right. So I now have accurate module level up. Okay, this is good. This is good because it keeps everything intact. It's not going to change anything. I think cursor is also done now, so should be able to the application in terms of what it looks like now. All right. All right. So brilliant. So this is where the app is actually at the moment, which is good. So I can pull all the companies down. That's all locked down, and that's all it's pulling through the owner's information. It pulls through the website. I can then obviously run the audit for that website. I can generate my mock-ups and things like that. I can enroll the contact, and obviously here it's segregating them. So it it gives me the ability to add the various listed people at that organization at the top level, so I can see who the director is, I can see who the secretary is, enroll them, and then I can email blast them and basically, yeah, just send them the outreach and say, hi, I'm Clay, um and yeah, I can offer you some AI integration services, right? And that is all seamless. It's all something that it's all working up till now. So I can yeah, so I can see the sending queue and everything like that. Um, but for some reason it's not showing the previous. Yeah, so I think I did review this earlier. It's not showing the email that I'd already sent out earlier. It's not, which is, yeah, it's a bit annoying. But let me let me see. Because these guys, oh, okay, yeah, cool. So they were enrolled on this date, and the next send was on this time, whatever else. So yeah, that's that's fine. Unreachable. Why are they unreachable? Okay. I think that's showing as unreachable just because it's a generic fail message. I think that the Google, yeah, the Google Mail authentication isn't actually, it's no longer authenticated. So that's the annoying bit. But that's like a really fix. All I need to do is just sign back into Google, and I can then get back to firing email across. But yeah, these are the sort of silly things that I wanted to fix with implementing more control. And again, this is why context switching and being able to kind of utilize the correct number of tokens, and not let the AI get ahead of itself is important, because you can see here, like, there's no need for me to have um double navigation here. It's like extremely annoying. And it's happening because it's referencing the navigation bar in two different places, which shouldn't be happening, right? So over here, all of these screens are fine. You get down to a certain level within the application, because I've been clicking around and I've found that it's not done something quite right. I go into Cursor, and I just tell an agent to just fix something, and then it just goes crazy, starts referencing navigations all over the place, and then you end up with issues like that, which is annoying. Um, oh yeah, let me just quickly go because it should have finished what it was doing, which is see where it's gotten to. This agent has gotten to. The server is up. Why would the server not be up? Um, yeah, cool. I'm just reading the text, but yeah. Now. What was I doing? Yeah, cool. So the milestone phase, PRDs are documented, which is good. Now we can actually start the smoke test, but I want to just check the context window. We're at 120K. I don't want to start the smoke test at 120K. I want it with a slightly wider. Should we run this day? Yeah, let's run it. Size of safety, blah blah blah. Heads up on the zoom out. It's only skill staging, not installed. Close goes, I can't invoke slash command yet, but the phases overview status and table was effectively the grand you wanted. No, I don't want effectively. I want I want what I asked for. I need to be extremely demanding with this, but I'll put it into the next context window. How we're doing for headroom. Yep, we're still good. No, so what I want to actually happen here, because you'll be able to see it in real time, we're now at 139K. So it should at any minute flag, or at the next prompt that I put in, it should flag that they were getting close to the limit that you've set, before I kind of start making silly decisions. It should be start a new chat or a new context window, which is what I'm waiting for. And that's the beauty of setting this skill up the way that we did, just so that we can avoid going through certain things. But anyway, it's running tests and whatnot, which is good. So I don't need to worry too much about this. See where it gets to. Mhm. Well, that is happening. To be fair, I could be running several of these things at the same time while this is happening. I'm just being lazy. All right. So what I'm gonna do is set up another session with another agent, doing something slightly different. What I wanted to do in this, start the smoke test of something I saw in the previous window. That I wanted to close up, which was the derivative. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there was a couple of skills that I actually wanted to. Cool. So you can see here, stage harness, which is what we've basically put in. Allow. Sorry, no, not here. The previous one. So you can see here, allow closer run the stage harness tool and file, which is fine. Allow conversation, yeah, that's fine. And then these have all passed. And it's running the stage. And I'll crawl to against the running server. That's fine. So again, we're just verifying the last few of these, and then I can start kind of just running a few simultaneous prompts. But there was something that I saw that I wanted to just quickly close up. It's bugging me. Yes, this zoom out, because I need it. So can you to this? To it should complement. It should complement the stage. Uh, so this is let's see. Before we do all of that, I can get that done. I can then allow that to run as well. To effectively handled session happen, but yeah, cool. So that's fine. This one, allow Claude to rerun phase F gate with was fine. What happened with that one? 28 and first, all 12 acceptable criteria fully mocked. Now phase up against the live server, not a logic failure, a Windows console encoding bug, validate as okay, print blah, blah, and the console crashes. It lacks a UTF. But there's a reason why this doesn't come to that. Which skill should we pair first? Triage. No, I wanted the go high level. Oh, I think I'm doing too many things. So which one does it recommend? First, and then give one paragraph edit. Cool. Commit them, and then let's start comparing the skills. And that's three. We don't need triage at the moment. Diagnose. Work through the four conventional overlap skills and triage issue. Diagnose. Start there. Also, that's gonna skill to run. So all of this is happening in the background. Done and improved. Zoo out and installed. No phase awareness, which is good. It's now obviously got a phase awareness based off of the new PRDs that we've created. It's brilliant. A glossary and name. So glossary is now been named. No defined output. Returns a fixed map phase. The pipeline, a caller, this, steps, whatever. Yeah, fine. It didn't feed the handoff. Closes the next phase and entry point. Silent on safety. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Do a fitment. Let's commit. Let's commit. fine. So starting in the diagnose tool did it file, but read it. Correction by its own. Done. Okay. No ADR. Okay. No, it's not broken or dangling reference. Not right. So get that in as well. Fine. Right. So that is done. Good call. This is a good call. So right. I know this is um and hopefully now I'll be able to just find some of these like silly repetitive overlaps like this. It's bugging me so much. In a second. As well. But the most important thing is just fixing the general code structure just so that I can go into everything and just sweep it once. But I need to make all of these rules just so that the AI is not just code base and doing things that just don't make sense. All while keeping an eye on the context windows. So this one's at 145k tokens. So I need to close that context window as well soon. But as we built earlier, that should actually pop up shortly. And any prompt that I do, because it's already at 140k, any prompt that I do after that, it should be able to self-measure and tell me that it's going to start making silly decisions. Clay, do you want me to open a new window? So that the context window actually resets, which is the beauty of why that way. Going through this now. The handoff architecture fair challenge. Let me verify. Assume doesn't exist here. Blah, blah, blah. Check. Of course, you're gonna have to check. It's because it's checking in the wrong place. Checking there. It was wrong. Yep, of course it's fair to challenge, yeah? And this is why you should always just try and have such a tight grip base. So yeah, so I had to challenge it and push back. You're right, I was wrong. Thanks for the catch. Prove the code base, prove the code base architecture does exist. Again, no, this is wrong because it doesn't exist there. It does not exist there. It's a real sibling skills from that suite, and this is not right. So let me see. What's the context window here? Yeah, 93, so it shouldn't be making is a helper settings, some right. So why are you looking at a completely different product? Like these are the things, and this is Opus 4.8 set to high, and these are the sort of errors that it's making. These are the sort of silly mistakes that it's making. And yeah, I can't wait for it to tell me that I was right. Come on, don't dilly dally. Yes, of course, you're right. that handoff helper is wired to the settings, blah, blah, blah. And it runs from the prompt, recontact, snap session, hooks. We built and verified that session. So our handoff is that the hook is driven by the helper, not just a skill MD. I just want to make sure that I fix the right thing because I still may have misread which of the statements you're actually calling incorrect. Can you confirm which one you mean? My claim that the diagnosis could lean on the handoff. My claim that you're correcting that the handoff isn't a peer skill diagnosis would call. I didn't say that. The improved code-based architecture is line specific. Something else. No. I want the diagnose to lean on. You said handoff skill doesn't exist. I am verifying does exist in the location stated, i.e. of helper, right? I am perplexed at why you that's fine. That being snooty with Claude, but again, it's warranted. So while we're kind of going back and forth on that, let's see where we got to with this skill review and initial test passes. No get yet, blah, blah, blah. So the bottom line is the build is green through F, which is fine. G is inspected, G is held, gate is ready, the window's closed with a test mode on address, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's fine. I needed that. The only files were wrong v import and console and coding, both environment, not logic. For phase gauge, run it now. No op, run it now. No operation while the window is closed. Any send redirects to its own info at. Run it, skipping. No, that's fine. It's supposed to be doing that because I tested it on a different email. 2 bugs. Do you want me to repoint the JSON or safety? No, both are small and reversible. So you need to point it at the dot environment. I want this because I don't want this committed to Git. See, for obvious reasons. Come on. Okay. Environment file. Really should not be asking. You really shouldn't be asking that. But hey ho, it is what it is. Right. So now, I want to the skill reference in this week. Right, and I was wrong. Establish that. several times. Now I see the confusion. And it's my word that confuses. Let me untangle this because two different things are both being called handoff here. Here is the exact diagnosis text. Cool. So the sentence handoff to, basically to delegate to the object, blah, blah. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's not referring to the handoff system at all. So the two unrelated handoffs, okay, that's fine. My table was badly worded and I wrote handoff. Fine. So nothing about handoff, which of these is okay. Okay. Next. That decision. The argument, I'm bored of it. Bored of it. Cool. So it can decide what we do there. And then now on this, these have all passed now, which is brilliant. Good call actually. Let me test the fitment and blah blah blah. Every single thing passes, so exists, a zero dead thing. So what's the recommended at the end? The cost of yourself, everything holds up. The read only discipline and thing commit. So the kills is going to zoom out, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Yes, commit it. Commit it. Store. Fine, that can. That's good. Yeah. Fine. Tables. Okay, cool. So those bugs have also been closed up, which is good. I'm gonna commit it to that. Commit that as well. Cool. So all of my kind of like managerial skills been committed as well. I'm just quickly revert back to Cursor application itself, because now we should be able to kind of target this small bug with the navigation. And to be fair, it's something that you can I can quickly fix myself, but I want to be able to build this in a way that I don't want to touch any code at all. But then I'm also wanting to kind of implement and enforce the ring fencing around why it's making these sort of errors, because I can see that what it's done here, it's referenced the navigation and probably built put it inside the wrong container, and then called the component for the navigation into it, which is not what it's supposed to have done at all. So I just want to catch all of these small little bugs, and then we can continue down to phase I, and then stage gate H, and then we should be able to move forward with the project itself. But I'm happy that we've actually been able to go through all of the items. Yeah, let's see. Get to in a second. Mhm. It's what I like to see. Cursor. Um, so as you can see, the smoke test is pretty much nearly done. In terms of all the gates, all of the validations have actually been run fine. The bottom line is it's all fine till F, which is good. I've now fixed and tweaked. So again, important your instinct. Your instinct is exactly right. There was a gap to close. The .github. So yeah, so anything that you're doing within your Git, if it's got a dot in front of it, basically means that it's hidden from being posted in a repository, or being referenced or indexed in a repository. So I didn't want that, which contains all my credentials and things like that, being committed to the repo, which is not something that I want. So yeah, that's done. Reload needed. Brilliant. So as you can see, this is good. Cool. So those handoff tools are done. And then, yep. And it's also nudging me now regarding the context, because my context windows are 170K. So it's 10K above where I want it. But you can see that it's flagging to me that it's about to start getting confused and things of that nature. So now if I open up a new session, that you can see here, flagging, actually flagging, and from here I can actually now just continue from the last one, and this is helping me just to compact all of the context, so I can just now just hit continue. Don't need to type or just say, look, this is where we were at on X, Y, and Z. Just continue, and I've set it up in a way where it will start to pick up. It'll confirm the handoff, because the last conversation drops a package in terms of what was the last thing that was committed to this handoff tool, and then there you go. So you can see secret deny settings, blah blah blah. So the handoff's next action is to implement a guardrail, which is done, and then blah, blah. So it's now just it's checking what the last thing that I'd actually asked, or what the last thing that we were discussing before this handoff is. While that's doing that, let's check what we're doing here. So the condition in the background. So session start. Fine. What I recommend all the structure files, config secret, couple the values, and okay. Secret still okay. And that's fine to work as is. I think we don't need to do anything crazy here. I don't want to compromise any credentials. No, I think this is fine. No, I think this is fine. Getting compliance, scrub, and shrub the picture, add it to a placeholder, non-destructive, nothing's deleted on your machine. But why do we need to do? We don't need to do that. Just stick it in all parts. Step 2. Okay. Let's see. Let me see what it's going to recommend for us to do there. Right. So always allow once. Where are we here? So this is the human interaction and the handoffs. No, I want the diagnose to the okay, cause and I don't want to see. Makes sense. That's okay. Blah 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 blah. So that's the background. We'd given here. Okay, good. Makes sense. Do what's best done. The diagnosis adapt. But is it installed? It's registered in schools list. Okay, cool. That's fine. So this conversation is closed here. This is fine. So now that the diagnose tool is installed, I can now run it on those an item in gate H that was closed, wasn't completed. Pick it up from there. Okay, yeah, so here H. So what I want to do is all right. Diag skill. Get the let's run this on H and see how we get on. Got it. Okay, cool. So I'm running the diagram. Phase one feedback. Boom. For H, as in test and harness. Okay, cool. There's harnesses plus the build gates, which is. Let's see where this gets us. So neither and test critic and import. Okay, extractor. Strong signal forming. Blah. This is the real offline feedback loop. WhatsApp fetches, no network, and blah blah blah. So it's essentially where we've gotten to in terms of checking checking the mailbox. So I think it's coming up as that because the mailbox decides to find it in the feedback. Let me check. Okay, cool. You check. That's fine. So it's now it's going to grab the hits. And then see. And I've got such a blocked nose. It's making me sound huskier than normal, which is annoying. But yeah, let's see. I'm probably going to just end the stream after this prompt, maybe, because I am tired. I've practically been at my computer for 14 hours today. So I'm the screen for a bit. Right, so what we're going to do is install and run it in bar. To get the chance, allow it. What's the context window at? It's at 60K. What's this one saying? Okay, cool. Tracked real credentials and commit local only, but in Git history. Well, we need to fix that. We need to fix that. There's no reason for my Google credentials to be there. Because number one, it shouldn't be in that client secret.json. That should be in here. Has one real looking value, a Google pure placeholder. This needs fixing. Okay, cool. That's good. Okay, cool. So these are going to be the last two prompts, and then we can close the stream. Okay, cool. Good. I'll make the call. Sure. What changed? Okay, cool. So phase 6. Phase 6 architecture handoff. Do what is best. Cool. Instead of importing the improve code based architecture skill, I wired it to a file tech debt issue. The tracker slug, blah blah blah. It leans off of a handoff in the environment. It's stack overload. Okay, cool. So now next, one to keep going down my list. The suggestion is that grow no, we don't need the grow me. I don't think we're not going to need the grow me for this project. Again, we can yeah. Let's do the grow me and fine tune it for in flight. In flight alignment. Feature. But it should stray too far. It shouldn't stray too far from the engineering CD terms. Okay, fine. Put that and then just allow this. Don't want to make too many more prompts after this because I do actually want to close off for the night. All right, so we're just gonna wait for these 3 agents to finish doing what they're doing, and then off. Solid hour and a half stint. Right. Nope, they're still doing what they're doing. We can wait. Cool. I'm gonna park the stream there. Thank you so much for those obviously that tuned in. Yeah, I'll pick this back up tomorrow evening or afternoon at some point. And yeah, let's keep cracking away at this. Thank you so much and have a good